Welcome to Todd Talk. Today I'm going to tell you about Comic-Con 2011.
Todd Talk is brought to you by the Boodle Brothers. Soup is life.
Before I get this story started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about these Todd Talks. I've gotten a little bit of feedback that some of the stories are a little bit gruesome, and that's fair. You know, a lot of the videos I make with Minecraft and things like that are very family friendly, and this video series definitely toes the line as far as family friendly. So going forward, there definitely are some stories that have subject matter that is a little bit more grown up, and I will warn you up front. I'll let you know if there is something that is gross or gory or something like that so that you're aware. But today's story is nothing like that. Today's story is actually pretty cool. Way back in 2011, I went to Comic-Con in San Diego. It's the first and only time I've been. One of my very best friends, Steve, kind of had the idea that we should do this. And we started talking, and then we started planning, and we sort of just put it together. Now, there were three of us who went. There was myself, and there was Steve. And then Steve has a friend named Jason, and they actually went to high school together. And Jason and I, just because of social media and that sort of thing, had also spoken, but we had never met. And so the three of us were going to go to San Diego and see what Comic-Con was all about. So just at a high level, it was a really good time and a really amazing experience. It is more people in one place than you've probably ever seen in your entire life. The San Diego Convention Center is gigantic. And they had everything from movies to comics to video games to Legos. Every little nook and cranny of geekdom was crammed into this place. So Steve and I got there first, and we got all settled and checked into our hotel. Jason was going to fly in a little bit later. So Steve and I are walking along, checking out some of the sites, and he shows me this little puppet, this little Yoda that he and his son had made. His son at this time, I think, was 3 or 4, and there was a book they got that was called Star Wars Crafts, and this book had a little felt Yoda puppet that they made. And what Steve planned on doing was basically taking pictures with this little Yoda and then bringing the pictures back home to show his son. And there's a lot to see. San Diego's a pretty interesting town. You know, the convention center aside, there's palm trees and a really cool kind of downtown. There's a battleship that's just kind of sitting out there in the water. It's pretty cool. So Steve and I are looking for something to eat, and we sit down, and while we're eating, we notice somebody who looks kind of familiar. So we're kind of scratching our heads, and we're looking at this guy. He's wearing a white t-shirt, white pants. He's got kind of long brown hair, and he's talking with some woman who, I don't know if it's a relative or a coworker or something. This is Andrew W.K. Now, Andrew W.K. is a musician, but he also had a show on Nickelodeon around this time, and we figured that's probably why he was here at Comic-Con. So we'd been in San Diego all of 30 minutes, and we're starting to see celebrities already. And while we're eating, we're like, gosh, should we go say hi? You know, what if this is, a business thing? Are we going to be interrupting? The guy's just having lunch. That'd be kind of rude of us. And so we did nothing. So a little later, Jason rolls in, and we get him all settled. So while we're at dinner, we tell Jason about seeing Andrew WK, and we're sort of formulating a plan for our weekend, and we realize we're probably going to run into other celebrities, and it'd be kind of cool to say hi to them. The weird thing about celebrities is they're just people, and if you can imagine walking down the street and some stranger walking up to you and being like, "Oh my gosh, it's you! I know everything about you! I know all the work that you've done," that's kind of creepy and unnerving. Now, granted, these people are here in San Diego because they are working and they are promoting projects. That being said, they're also surrounded by people who know who they are, and they're going to be a little bit on the defensive. And then we get this brilliant idea. Because it's Comic-Con, there were lots of people in cosplay and that sort of thing. And we see this one girl who's dressed up as Zatanna. And we say, "Hey, can we get a picture of you with Tiny Yoda?" And of course, she says yes. And so we take a picture, and then we kind of look at each other, and we're like, celebrities might not want to talk to us, but I think they're going to want to talk to Tiny Yoda. So during the convention, there's all kinds of things going on. There's people at booths, there's people doing autographs, there's different talks that you can go and watch. So we started simple. There were some celebrities who were just kind of hanging out at booths, and we would just ask, "Hey, is it okay if we take a picture of you and Tiny Yoda?" And they'd be like, "Sure." So one of the first pictures we took was of Mike Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbett, who are the Riff Tracks guys, used to be a part of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And then we ended up running into Claire Grant, who is Seth Green's wife, and she's the founder of Team Unicorn, and so we got a picture with them. There were lots of celebrities you could see from a distance. You know, Bruce Campbell, that would have been a cool one to get. Elijah Wood, that would have been a cool one to get. We went to a panel for the new TV show at the time, Once Upon a Time, and one of the producers was one of my favorites who wrote Lost and The Watchmen show on HBO, Damon Lindelof, and we happened to catch him before he took off and got a picture of him with Tiny Yoda. The convention is 3 days long, and once the panels and the main day were done, then people would go out, and there were things going on at different bars and clubs and restaurants and things like that. Now, Twitter was only about 4 years old at this point, and this was kind of our first discovery of the power of hashtags. We would wander around and we would watch Twitter and we would look for the hashtag SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, and we could see people tweeting about different things that were going on. There were some things that were going on that were very exclusive, you know, industry people only and that sort of thing, but we would hang out outside and every once in a while we would get kind of lucky. As an example, Aziz Ansari walked out of a bar, and we got a picture of him with Tiny Yoda. We were watching Twitter, and we saw that Grant Imahara from the Mythbusters was hanging out at a bar in San Diego, and so we stopped by, and sure enough, there he was, and so we got a picture of him and Tiny Yoda. All in all, it was a very jam-packed weekend. We got to see Penn and Teller perform, and then we got to meet them afterwards, and we got pictures of them with Tiny Yoda. We ran into Adam Baldwin, got a picture of him with Tiny Yoda. We ran into Zach Levi and got a picture of him with Tiny Yoda. We ran into Adrienne Curry, the very first America's Next Top Model, got a picture of her and Tiny Yoda. We bumped into Brian Posehn and we got a picture of him with Tiny Yoda. And the best one, the crown jewel, we ran into Mark Hamill and we got a picture of Luke Skywalker with Tiny Yoda. The funniest one is we ran into a person named Bonnie Burton, and she actually wrote the Star Wars craft book that we got the Tiny Yoda from, and so we got a picture of her and Tiny Yoda. Just goes to show, I suppose, that a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of luck can create a pretty amazing story. Now, the first Iron Man movie came out in 2010, directed by Jon Favreau. In 2011, the Thor movie and the Captain America movie were getting ready to come out, so I'm sure he was there. Now, we didn't run into him, and of course, this is 8 or 9 years before The Mandalorian. I'm just wondering where he got that idea for a baby Yoda.